How many times has an important day snuck up on you? An exam, a project deadline, perhaps even a birthday, anniversary, or holiday. You find yourself scrambling to prepare all the things you meant to prepare days, weeks, or even months ago. But now the date has arrived and there you are scrambling, racing to get everything done. And most often you do get it done. But it wasn't easy. And it was definitely a race to the finish. Now, what happens when you never have that deadline? What happens if you keep telling yourself you'll do something that you really want to do? You keep telling yourself you're going to do it someday, you're going to do it one day. But who's to say when that day actually is? It never really gets done for most people. See, this is what happens for most when it comes to living out their dreams. Someday, one day, these days very often never end up coming because they're not a real day. Someday, one day, I'll do it then. And then what happens is these people end up at the end of their life looking back and thinking, wow, I never really did what I wanted to do. Full of regret. And so today we're going to go over the 6-month check-in, the questions that you need to ask yourself on a regular basis if you actually want to achieve your dreams. So that when it comes to the end of your life and you look back, you can think, heck yes, I did that. Instead of, I wish I had. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Candace James, and I've spent the last decade traveling the world, building a business, and most recently, writing a book. All while learning and teaching the secrets to rewiring the brain so that you can stop living in your head with overthinking, worry, anxiety, fear, self-doubt, and guilt. And finally create the peace of mind you need to live the life you've been dreaming of. Because I'll let you in on a little secret. Your own thoughts are the only things getting in your way. You're listening to the Get Out of Your Head and Into Your Life podcast. Welcome back to the Get Out of Your Head and Into Your Life podcast with your host, myself, Candace James. Today we are talking about the questions you must ask yourself if you actually want to achieve your dreams in this life. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about why this check-in is so important. Why do we need to ask ourselves these questions on a regular basis? And here's why. For most of us, if we don't check in with ourselves, this is when we wake up one day, suddenly thinking, whoa, how did I get here? We believe that we're following the path that we truly want, and then all of a sudden we wake up one day and we realize we're not happy. This isn't what I really wanted. Is this all there is? Sometimes we go after something. We want a job, we want a career, we want to have kids, we want to buy a house, we want to build a house, we want to, whatever it is that we think we want to do, and then we just go off chasing that. And sometimes we achieve that. But then once you achieve that, you got to start thinking, okay, well, what next? Is there anything else that I want now? What is next in this life? Because if we don't continue to check in, if we don't continue to, make sure that we are doing really what we want next in life, then we enter into a life of complacency where things are just fine. They're not amazing, but they're fine. And you just start trucking along in life. And 10 years go by, 15 years go by. And all of a sudden you think, what have I really done with my life? And what about all those dreams I had to build a business, go back to school, find a partner, travel, whatever those dreams were? all of a sudden you're sitting there going, well, I did that one thing and then I just kind of sat there and stuck with it, and here I am today. And when it has been so long that we are in that we've been in that space, the longer we are in a complacent state, the more difficult it feels to get out. Now, I'm not saying it is more difficult to get out, but I'm saying it feels more difficult to get out. It's like you've created a rut in the road with your tires. You've been doing the same thing day after day, year after year, just doing your thing. Everything's the same or similar, and you just keep going. And when you wake up 10, 15 years later, those grooves that you've created in the road are very deep, and it feels difficult to get out of them. Whereas if you continuously check in with yourself, you can make small little turns, moves, and you never actually get stuck in that same rut. So the more you check in with yourself, the more able you are and the more easy it feels to alter your course slightly. Right? With my clients and my students, I always talk about the roadmap, driving the roadmap of life. And how do we create this roadmap? Right? And then we start to remove the mental blockages that come out, as we try to get to our dreams, and we think maybe we're going to fail, and maybe we can't do it, and maybe this, and maybe that, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I'm crazy. But we remove those from the road. But first, we have to realize that we are in control of where we go on the road. We need to be in the driver's seat of our life. We could be in the passenger seat, but then you're not in control of how your life goes and what you do in this life, how you feel in this life. So I encourage everyone to get in the driver's seat and steer clear of complacency by continuously checking in with yourself every few months. So in order to prevent complacency in life, in order to achieve what really lights us up, like I said, we must continuously check in with ourselves. And I am a massive advocate for the idea that if you dream it, you can do it. Your success is inevitable. But like I said, you also have to be in the driver's seat. Nobody but yourself can get you where you want to be on the road of life. And I think it's important to remember that being in the driver's seat doesn't just involve hustle, working hard, and all the physical, external 3D world stuff. It means also getting mentally aligned. In order to achieve magnificent things in this life, your vision, your mental clarity has to be crystal clear. And you need to believe in the outcome. With every atom, every fiber of your body, you must believe that your vision is not only possible, but that it's already done and waiting for you in the future present. And when you can do that, your future, your dream life will fall into place with the minimal amount of effort. And that's not to say that you just have to believe something to be true and poof, there it is. You can't simply believe you'll be a best-selling author and never write a single word and just hope and pray and manifest that you're going to be an author. Well, no, you got to help. You have to see the vision clearly. You must believe that it's already done, and then you must take the aligned actions that will actually make it possible. And if you take out any one of these three aspects, you're going to find it difficult to create the life that you want. Difficult, if not impossible. right? So we've got vision, clear vision, the belief that it's already going to happen, that it absolutely will happen. It's already happened in the future. It's just waiting for you to catch up. And of course, aligned action. Those are the three keys. And if you have just vision and belief without action, it's just a dream. And if you have action and you believe that it will happen, but you don't have a clear vision of what that looks like, you'll be floundering around, unsure where you're headed, getting lost and frustrated and confused and going in circles. And maybe you'll get there, but it's going to take a lot longer. It's not going to feel easy, that's for sure. And then perhaps you have a clear vision and you're taking action. But if you don't believe with every fiber of your being that what you're attempting to do is 100% possible, then you're going to hit roadblocks. You're going to feel defeated. And very often, this is when people give up. You know what? It's just not possible. I can't do this. It's over. And so you must have all three of these ingredients in order to create the life that you truly love and to do it with a bit of ease. Vision, action, and belief that it's going to happen. And so this is why it's so important to check in with yourself. Where are you at? What's going on with you? Are you still clear on that vision? And are you headed in the direction that you truly want to go? And I mean, this could be anything. This could be from your health to your career, to your family, to, your bucket list, right? Are you going in the direction that you really desire to go? And so these are the questions, and I'll encourage you to do them now. Go grab a pen and paper, pause this podcast, or come back to them later on. But I will encourage you to be actively listening to this and doing the check-in, okay? These are the questions that I routinely come back to for myself. Number 1, where am I now? Number 2, what have I accomplished in the last 6 months? Number 3, where would I like to be? Number 4, in what areas am I lacking fulfillment? Number 5, any non-positive feelings that are coming up regularly? Number 6, what do I need to let go of in order to get where I want to be? Number 7, what do I require to support my vision? And number 8, what are my next steps? I need a game plan. I need a roadmap. I need to know where I'm going. These questions have the opportunity to completely transform where you're at in your life and get you prepared for where you need to go in the future to achieve everything you've always wanted. They sound simple, but what you need to do is you need to just, sit down, find a quiet space when you're not going to be distracted, and you put down these questions and just go through them. And at first, if you're not used to journaling or doing a lot of, writing for yourself, handwriting, journaling, then at first they might seem difficult. If you're not used to asking yourselves these types of questions, it might seem difficult. And I encourage you just to write. Just write. Write down the question. Where am I now? And then allow yourself to just write whatever comes up. Even if whatever comes up first is, I don't know what I'm supposed to write. Sure, write that down. Everything that comes up in your head, write it down. And the first question is simple. Where am I now? Describe your life. What are you doing? What's going on in your world? That's it. Where am I now? Somebody, a friend from 20 years ago was like, yo, what's going on? And it was a friend that you really, opened your heart to. But, where are you now? What's going on? And just write. And what have I accomplished in the last 6 months? Oh my gosh. I was doing this just a couple of weeks ago up at the cottage, and I went to a cottage with my cousin for a week. It was amazing. And on the last day, I brought these questions out on the deck right by the water, and I started answering these questions. And I was like, what have I accomplished in the last 6 months? And my internal reaction was, nothing. And then I was like, whoa, slow your roll, Candace. What in the heck? Nothing. Your book was published and launched. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? I created another program. I launched my book. I was on 4 different podcasts. All these different things started coming up, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I talking about? I have not accomplished anything in the last 6 months. And not only what did I accomplish professionally, but what did I accomplish in my personal life? Right? I made more time for friends and family. That was something that in January I told myself I have to make more time for friends and family. So I did that. I connected with people I hadn't connected with in a while, right? All these different things that you need to recognize yourself for. Otherwise, life can feel defeating, okay? And that's why I look, what have I accomplished in the last 6 months? Maybe you've created healthier eating habits or moved more, right? Did more yoga or walking or exercise of some form, right? These are things that you would put in there. What have I accomplished? And then where would I like to be? And this is your permission to dream. Where would I like to be? If I could be anywhere right now, where would I like to be? And, right, where am I lacking fulfillment? Where are the areas of your life where you're like, man, that part could be better? And then the next question, any non-positive feelings coming up regularly? These are things like, on Tuesday mornings when I have to drive my niece to daycare. This isn't a real thing, but anyways, it just came up. Tuesday mornings, I really don't like doing that. It fills me with anxiousness and whatever, so tap into that. What's causing that, right? And this is why we want to do that. Any non-positive feelings coming up, where are they in our lives? Or maybe there's thoughts that you keep telling yourself, about people in your circle, right? What are these not positive things coming up? What do I need to let go of? This is huge. And you got to be really honest with yourself. If you want to get to that place where you want to be, what do you have to let go of? Right? For people who are like, oh man, I always just use like weight loss and stuff as an example because it's physically obvious, right? But somebody's like, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to build up lots of muscle. Right? Let's use a bodybuilder. I want to enter a bodybuilding competition, but I never want to lift weights and I don't want to change what I'm eating. Okay. Because I really like Friday night pizza nights with all my friends, and we drink beers and we have pizzas, and and it's not to say you can never do that, but you're probably going to have to let go of doing it weekly if you want to be in a bodybuilding competition, right? What do you need to let go of? And some of it can just be beliefs, thoughts in your head. What do you need to let go of? And what do I require to support my vision? What do you need? If you're going to do X, Y, or Z, what needs to come before that? If you want to travel for 6 months, what needs to come before that? Do you need to find a remote working job? Do you need to save money? Do you need to buy a backpack? Like, what do you need to do? What do you need to support that vision? It could even be going back to school, taking a course, getting a different job. I don't know, right? And then based on all of this, get it specific. What are your next steps? What are your next steps? And I am, this is something that normally inside my program with my clients, with my students, this is something I'm right there to give feedback on, because the next steps can be the most difficult part. Because we see these huge ideas, and then how do we break it down into very manageable step-by-step actions? So I'm not there to look over your shoulder right now if you're listening on the podcast, but here's what I can say to you is specificity. Tiny steps, and make them specific. Take your giant goal and just break it down to very small, manageable steps. And that is the check-in that I do with myself every 6 months. Sometimes more frequently. It depends on what I'm doing in my life and where I really need to go, how quickly I want to get there. But that's basically it. These are the questions you need to be asking yourself. Now, these questions are just part of what I take my clients through to help them get the clarity on their vision, understand the aligned actions that need to be taken, and of course, create that belief in themselves and the system and the roadmap that this truly is going to work. In fact, it's already been done, waiting in the future. And so if you're interested in taking a deeper dive into finding your vision, how to achieve it, how to believe it, and the actions that you need to take, if you want to get more clarity and start making those steps, because you only live once, folks, it's time to make it count. See you next time. Peace.